Hello. So, yeah, last time I was sort of stuck with this whole macro expansion for list content, but yeah, I right here. Um, so it turns out the solution is basically just to reference it here instead of I think what I did before was like not specify it here, but uh, go a basically a state, but that doesn't work. So I was like maybe static because that's the only thing I can really specify. And yeah, that doesn't end up working out. I mean, I think you'd even have to do like as widget, but anyway, it doesn't like the lifetime here or something like that. I don't exactly recall what the issue is, but basically, yeah, I think in retrospect this is quite obvious, but yeah, you can just. This is a bit weird though. I don't know if there, from what I've seen, you can't make like one of those existential type aliases for no trait, so I just chose sized, but that's weird. But it ends up working fine here. But yeah, I think maybe when this type of alias, existential type alias type stuff actually gets into stable Rust, there might be a way to have it be an alias for no trait because I think that's kinda needed. But in this case, we actually might want it to always be sized. I don't know, because we want to store the state, right? Uh, yeah, so this does work out, but it's strange that you need a trait here. So we can run this. Uh, Example text box. Right, and then we have two input fields, and in this case they share state, which is nice. Um, right there, so we're not using those. They just have the same text box content, but they have separate state. So in this case, state is somewhat ambiguous, but state in the widget abstraction, they have different state, but they share the same content. But we could also give them separate content. Right, basically just by putting B here, and then they have separate content. Yay! And now, of course, we do want to generate this with the macro. So there's our first problem. Like the original macro, here it is. You basically have to give an identifier and wait, how did its invocation look? Something like that. You have to give it the state and oh, this is the identifier for the state. This is the type of the state, and then this is for each item identifier and expression. So yeah, you have to give it a here. And my original plan was to basically use a in, like in this struct we have a and b, and for the type we could use a, and for wherever it needs to be per widget we could use a, except the state. Because then we have to join identifiers. Although we could make this a module, so we could do mod a and have type widget and type state, of course, with their definitions and so on. That could actually work out. And then we go a state and b state. Now that's actually interesting. Now this make function, well, first of all, I'm not sure it's actually needed. I think I made this in the process of debugging, maybe, and I'm not sure if it's still needed. Well, anyway, if it is still needed, then we could just have a function make in here. Well, so that could actually work. Interesting. Well, but there is, of course, still the problem of having to specify an identifier here, because this is really not needed. So I think I'll be going with something similar to a bit of an earlier approach, which was to have the like item and so on accept a closure, except it can't be a closure because there's lifetime requirements, but it can be a trait. And then we just for each item implement this trait, and we can chain them together with then. I think, yeah, that's the approach I want to go with for now. Yep. Alright, let's get rid of this. I also have those things stashed, but I don't think we need any of them for now. Well, this one's interesting. Do we actually need that part? Let's undo some things here. Yep, that builds. I think I did this at some point while testing something out. Now the question is, does this... Yep. Interesting. Now, what we could do is have this always be sized. Huh. Oh wait, this is a lifetime problem? How is this a lifetime problem? Let's look at the actual Rust output. Uh, State captures lifetime A. These are always really funny when it gets to like opaque types. It's like, I expected this, but I found this, but it's the same, but it's somehow different. Um, right. Yeah, I think this might just be a limitation of the current implementation of these existential types or something like that. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I think I'll just switch to the other, to trying to implement the other thing, and we'll see whether we run into this there as well. Yeah. All right. Let's. So just to be sure, I don't think that does anything, by the way. I'm not sure in which context, but in some contexts, sized is basically implied, and it might be here as well. So I'm not sure that does anything. Yeah, let's just reset hard, and then let's start implementing the other thing. So we need an extension to this trait here. That would be params, which would be a mutable reference to P. I'm not sure about the lifetime though. Flex content, yes, only with the same P. No, I don't think they need any, like, the same lifetime or anything, since they'll only create temporary widgets, which they'll then, I don't know, consume or do the stuff necessary and then destroy. So, sure the empty one we can implement. No, don't need that here. Right. The then needs it certainly. Right. So let's put this first, just for. I know it's not, just to make sure I'm not saying wrong things. Like this would totally be allowed, of course, yes, but I prefer, like when there's no circular dependencies, putting them in the order of their dependencies, I guess. Although, yeah, it's a question of in this context, maybe that's nice. I used to also do it in like the context of a module or whatever in other programming languages the equivalent is. But I started being less like strict about that because sometimes it's useful to have the most, I guess, important thing at the top or something. Yeah, really just depends on, I don't know, how you want to read a file, I guess, but yeah, maybe the exact inverse order is sometimes useful. Then we'll need params here, mutably, of course. And yeah, I guess just pass them on here. All right. Now the item. Yeah, let's just add it here real quick, but obviously the signature will be somewhat different since it won't contain a widget. Params. All right. Now we have errors here. Right. So we'll need let's do this. Wait, no, that's not. So we need content and I guess let's put params first, p, and content. Yes, I think that's right. Now here we'll have params as well. Okay, what is all right. I guess right. Huh. Well, yeah, of course. We need to specify lifetimes here. That would be plus A. Or not. C may not live long enough. Alright, let's say C must live for A or something. Sure. Right, and then we pass self dot params. Self dot params. That seems params. Yeah. Right, let's copy this. Alright, that seems to make this one build, but breaks that one. Yes, wrong order. Is that double? No. Alright. Params. Yes. Now row breaks again. Right. Let's ignore the macro for now. I think this macro won't even be, let's just remove it. Won't be needed because, yeah, I think you'll just call row with params and then invoke the list content macro here. Yeah, I think that'll be the pattern. Otherwise, it's just an unnecessary macro, I think. Yeah. All right, now let's try to make the item thing do what it's supposed to do. All right, so we need some trait. Flex, what do we call it? The trait an item? Let's call it item builder, maybe. Although, question is, like, there's this convention in Rust of for one function traits, you just call the trait the name of the function. At least sometimes, I don't know explicitly what the convention is, but something like that. But here it's like flex item build. I don't know. Well, yeah, I sort of like it more than builder. So, all right, let's Now this will obviously need a type, widget type, which is a widget, I guess. Then needs to be generic. Oh, is it generic over? I mean, it's not like they'll change, so maybe params needs to be associated. We'll see whether that makes problems. Alright. So obviously this will return self widget. I do not remember. Something about the lifetime here. So I guess this would be something like that. And it would get past params. Something like that. So let's build. Let's rename this into B. All right. So now W. So it's now B. Needs to be a flex item build. Now, I guess where params is equal to P. Yeah, I think we need to do the strange state pattern thingy here, where we have state and needs to be a widget where state is self state. So we can then go and say it is B state. Alright, what are we missing here? Yeah. Let's say widget is self dot build dot build params B. Now why would that be missing? So I guess this would be mutable. As flex item build, sure. Don't know why that's needed in this context, or we'll see whether that's the actual problem or just a suggestion. I guess where params equals P or something. Oh, right. What do we do with self here? I mean, is it even needed? Let's say it takes an immutable reference to, but I'm dubious about that. Let's just ignore that for now. Right. I guess. What's broken now? Alright. We can maybe ignore that for now. Right. Well, sure. I knew it. Private trade in public interface. Interesting. I've never seen that error. But sure. Yeah, this would probably need to be public. Ooh, that compiles. I think it does. Gorgo check. Yes, it does compile. Nice. I guess let's see whether we can build one by hand. And then we can go about making a macro. Alright. So let's forget about that for a moment. Sure. Let's make a row with the state would be my state or the params or whatever. Of course, self. That is already mutable. So I guess something like that, but first let's create a struct my item. Now function row. Alright, we'll need to import that. Right. Alright, that's what we want. Impl flex item build for my item. So I guess my params would be, or params would be my state. Then type I think we'll have to do this trick. So let's do type widget a equals impl widget plus a type widget state is self widget static as widget and then the state of that. Not a right. It's just state. I don't know. So then we need build. Self params is my state. Right. Returns self widget a. All right. Yeah, so I guess this shall be a text box. Params dot a, I guess, mutably. Flex content my state is not implemented for. Still need an item. Flex item. And expand is, I don't know, no, let's make it true. Sure, let's remove that. Okay. Sure, let's make that public for now. That actually builds. That's cool. So now we should be able to, let's run it with mold. Example text box. Ooh. Test, test, test. Seems to work. Nice. All right, let's try to make this work as a macro. Or, well, I guess we could first try the then flex item build my item. So this should make two instances with a reference in the same state or the same content, but their own widget state. Flex item. All right. Let's import that. We really need to flex content. Ooh, it works. All right. Yes. Nice. Yeah, I think that's basically all we need. Right, now we should be able to update this this macro. Well, I guess let's first create a macro for just, I don't know if we need to export this, but let's do that for now. Flex item. Sure, yeah. And the idea would be that it does all that plus that, I guess. Right, so let's, I guess we can copy that in there. Struct, let's not call it my item, that's a bit cringe. Right, so this would be the first thing to replace. Let me go look what the, right, so these are the, I guess, fragment specifiers, they call them here. Or, right. So what we want is a type, I guess. All right. This syntax is somehow it's one of those that's like really hard to remember. Let's actually write those out. Somehow I've seen a lot of like just single character ones, but let's write them out. I think that will be easier to read. Alright, so we have state and or params maybe. And then we have build some sort of expression. The expression is expr. Right. I don't know, we could do something like that. And is that it? Sure, maybe. Alright. So we should be able to substitute that here and here. That's wrong. Params. And then this should just be build something of that sort. Let's see if that works. I guess we have to import it, or maybe we have with importing star. So let's see. Then flex item, yes. My state, and then yeah, I guess just text box. Ooh. Well, in this case it, wait, no. Params won't work because it's, I mean, we can test it, but that shouldn't work because of macro hygiene. Does it work? Wait. No. But I don't see an error. Expected expression in this macro invocation. Oh, right. We actually want to return item. Right, and this needs to be a block. Alright, now that might be a trade scoping issue. Scope create and widgets lists static. Not flex content. My state is not implemented for item. Interesting. Flex. Ah, right. Same mistake I made before. Flex item build. Like maybe if expand, we'll have to see. Theoretically, if expand is static anyway, we could we could have an associated constant here, but or we could have a method that returns it, which would mean you could make it depend on the state, which I guess you'd want. Well, I don't know. You can externally. Like I don't think there you have the same state sharing issue, so right. Okay, let's see if that, yeah, right, now that's the not found in the scope. That's the hygiene thing. So let's introduce an identifier. I think ident. Let's make it with a colon. I guess let's params. I don't know, var maybe. Which is an ident. I guess you have to leave a space here for the colon to be actually parsed as a code. Well, I don't know. Maybe that works as well. No idea. Now I should be able to params. Ooh. All right. Actually have to use it. Params var. Ooh, that works. So I guess, yeah, I mean, not that colon would mean anything. And I guess you just have to, if there's a dollar, you have to specify two things separated by a colon or something. And then if there's any other character after that doesn't match whatever's allowed to be in here or in here, then it's separate token or something. I don't know how macros are parsed, but I guess this is allowed. All right, let's run this, I guess. All right, so they're sharing state now. Now we can make them not share state, presumably. Yep. Test, test, test. Clickety click. All right. So that means we can update this macro to, yeah, to do the same. Yeah, work the same, just call then and chain it with an empty one at the start. That's weirdly hacky, but who cares? Shouldn't compile to much more unless it doesn't inline some functions, but yeah. I mean, the cost is probably minor, if anything. Right. So we have to have this part, certainly. So let's just copy that. And then so this is just repetition of, all right, so then in brackets, I think I'll just leave out this empty case for now because it would be annoying. So the main reason that empty case is for like syntactic, because if this is a star, so you can put none in there as well. And then you have an optional comma at the end, then it means you can have an empty thing with just a comma, and that would be allowed. And in normal Rust syntax, trailing commas are allowed, but not only a comma. So that's why the empty case existed. But I think we can just not care about that for now. All right. So E would be, yeah, I guess let's call it build. Then an invocation of, so we may then, yeah, I mean, we can call flex item there. Ooh, I don't know how that is scoped. Like, do I need to put create flex item for it to work without importing more stuff? Can test that later. Or I guess let's just do that. Right. So, params var then params and then wait, colon course, and then right, since this is in a dollar sign with a star, it repeats for build. I guess it just, if you have a variable in there, it like tries to figure out for each of what you try to repeat it, which I think makes it a bit confusing and might be the reason there's this macros 2.0 thing that's in development as far as I can tell. Yeah, I think that might be the reason, because writing those macros is slightly weird. Or at least that aspect I find weird. Like, I can't just say repeat for every one of those. I just have to say repeat for star and then use that inside, and then it'll figure it out. But I mean, there's probably cases where that causes problems. Yeah. All right. Can we try that? Let's, I guess, row self, then a list content with params is my state, and then we can do text box params.a and text box and mute params.b. That actually compiles. Nice. Yes. Cool. That's very cool. Yeah, I guess it can be quite useful to have macros call other macros to. Plus, some people might actually, or in some contexts, you'd want to use only that, I guess, and not a whole list content thing. So yeah, that's nice. All right. Yeah, I I think that's it for today then. And yeah, let me know if the light theme burned off your retinas. All right. See ya.